Middle school, for most probably the edgiest years of their lives. Well, at least for me it was. But surprisingly, the reason for my emotional disturbance wasn't because of being tired of school and homework. Those didn't impact my artistic journey much. But before we get there, there's one story I totally forgot to talk about in my previous video. Well, maybe because most of the content was pretty positive, I kind of forgot about one negative situation, and it was the art classes experience. As you know now, my friend was very artistically skilled. I was not, but it didn't change the fact that I loved art, so it was quite a shocker to me that I had to do extra work only so my teacher could give me a B grade for the end of the year. You see, I am a stubborn little tanuki. I hate when someone forces me to do what I don't want to do. So when they told me to draw a specific thing in a specific technique, I was very much not into that. Honestly, I hated my art teacher. I didn't respect her at all, and I was glad that in middle school she only taught art theory, so I didn't have to suffer from her poor judgment. Middle school was chill from the school stuff side. Heck, despite me not being much into literature classes back then, mostly because, once again, they forced me to read what I didn't want to read. Stubborn tanuki strikes again. I really liked my teacher. She was the only one who appreciated my art in my notebooks. She even left a small note under my doodles saying I have a skill and all that, and I know she wasn't the best judge of my art skills, but simply supporting my hobby was extremely nice. So, then what went wrong for me to become an edgelord? To be fair, it wasn't all that edgy, it's just I decided that friendships aren't real and I won't care about anyone too deeply ever again. Okay, that does sound overly edgy, but can you blame the younger me when literally both of my so-called besties backstabbed me and on the first day of school they told me they decided they didn't want to sit with me anymore and they want to keep sitting next to each other only in all the classes? A silly thing to be upset over, but that shit hurt! And that was not all! Remember my first bestie who went to sports classes? Yeah, that one pretended she doesn't even know me anymore, so literally all close friends that I've had so far turned their backs against me and left me all alone. Ironically enough, middle school was when my friend group was bigger than ever, and those two girls who used to be my besties at some point ended up in it as well, after some time. I did not plan on getting extremely close to any of them on the long run though, but I will talk about it some other time in detail. My artistic journey was once again lonely, but I didn't mind that because I got used to having a passion for something I didn't have in common with anyone from my class. And that was anime. So to keep art to myself was also not something too hard. But funnily enough, it was not anime that made me start drawing more, it was League of Legends. I don't know, when I saw Lulu fanarts, I immediately wanted to draw her as well. She was just a cute little goober and looked simple enough to draw. I never managed to create anything with her on my own though, I just kept redrawing fanart on her on paper. By the way, I blame my sister for showing me League of Legends, it was her fault, I wasted so much time on this game, she was the one who said her friends in class played that shit, and she was the one to install it, but was too much of a wimp to play it herself at first, and then she forced me to do it for her. After that short phase though, the best thing in my middle school life happened. I watched Katekyo Hitman Reborn. To say I was obsessed was an understatement of the year. I lived this show. I still hold it dear to my heart even now. I was obsessively drawing out those boys, and honestly, when I got into manga after finishing the show, which by the way deserves a reboot or at least a sequel, I am begging, I was so in awe of how Amano Akira's art style managed to change through years. And even though it should be the most obvious thing ever, it was only then I truly realized, hey, if I keep on drawing, one day my art will look good too. So I naturally wanted to get more into art, and at first I wanted to focus on traditional form. And what kind of phase most future digital artists always go through? Copic markers, of course. So when my birthday was coming up, I asked my dad if I could get markers for my birthday. Of course, he was very unaware, so at first he was like, sure, whatever. Until I showed him the biggest, most expensive set of Copic markers. All I gotta say is that he quickly changed his mind. I know he didn't sound too supportive, but give him a chance. In a way, he was right, so I cannot blame him. I would probably give up on them fast, so instead, I asked for a drawing tablet. It was much cheaper than those markers, so even if I got bored with it, it wasn't too big of a cost for him. This is how I got my first ever drawing tablet. That was Wacom Bamboo Pen and Torch. Only to give up on it soon after I realized I had no drawing app to use it on, and instead of doing research like a sensible person, I put it in a drawer so it could gather dust while I kept on drawing on paper with my pencils. But worry not, because soon enough, just a few years later, in high school, I obtained a brand new set of brain cells and the motivation to draw digitally has appeared once again.